In example 2a, we need to test the claim that the new production line has errors with a standard deviation different from 43.7 feet, which was the standard deviation for the old production method. Let's start by finding HO and H1. We're testing the claim that the standard deviation is different from 43.7. So the standard deviation is not equal to 43.7 feet. And that's our claim. So the null hypothesis would be that the standard deviation is equal to 43.7 feet. The next step is to find the test statistic. So chi-square is equal to, the degrees of freedom would be 80 since the sample size is 81. The sample standard deviation they told us was 52.3, and we need to square that number, over the population standard deviation that we're testing is 43.7, and we need to square that number. So entering that into your calculator and rounding to 3 decimal places, you should end up with 114.586. And now we need to find any critical values. Chi-square, remember, is a skewed distribution. The not equal to sign in H1 tells us that we have a two-tailed test. Alpha is 0.05, so we have 0.025 in each tail and 0.95 in the center. We just mentioned a bit ago that the degrees of freedom is 80. So use table A4 to find the critical values, and you should find that chi-square on the left is 57.153 and chi-square on the right is 106.629. So that test statistic of 114.586 is to the right of the critical value 106.629. Since the test statistic is within the critical region, we reject the null hypothesis. So our claim was within the alternative hypothesis. We're rejecting the null hypothesis, so that means there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that the standard deviation is not equal to 43.7 feet. One more question. If it appears that the standard deviation has changed, does the new production method appear to be better or worse than the old method? Well, we found that there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that the standard deviation is different. And since the standard deviation of the sample is higher than the standard deviation of the old equipment, it appears that the new production method is worse than the old production method.